What's going on, guys? It's Julio with Roadside Genius, and today we're going to be learning how to unlock any car. All right, and these are going to be the four main tools that you're going to need to perform lockout services. And here you have a pull-up tool. This will be used to unlock any vehicle manually that has one of those little manual pull-up locks. Here you have your normal old lockout bag. This is what you're going to use to wedge a space between the door and the frame so you can get your rods in there. And this is called a long rod. There's very different versions of this. Get you something that's long, preferably has a rubber tip on it. And you're gonna need a wedge. Those are the four things that you need to unlock any car. And I hardly ever use the wedge, so maybe you don't even need the wedge, you just need these three. So every time I go do a lockout, the very first thing I do is I go look at the mechanism I'm unlocking. Is it a button like this? Is it one of those buttons that slides back and forth? Is there no button? You need to know that before you pull up. So let's say I'm unlocking this Mazda. First thing I would do is I would look in it and see if I can see any buttons. Looks like it does have door unlock buttons, right? And if you can't see any buttons, you most likely have to go for the doorknob. If you can see some buttons, you can push the buttons. And if you see a little stick up here, sticking up like that, you can also pull that up and down. But once you know what tool you're gonna need or what type of mechanism you're gonna be using, you can pick the appropriate tool. Then the very first step in opening any car door is to put a wedge between the door and the frame. And you're gonna do that with your lucky old wedge tool. Now the proper way to do this is to use the wedge and wedge yourself a space like that, so you can put the bag in there, right? What's cool about this bag is it actually has a little plastic plate in there that allows you to just kind of slide it in there. That's why I hardly ever use the wedges, but the wedges are useful in some situations. All right, one of the most really important parts about unlocking a vehicle is your bag placement. You don't want to put the bag too close to the top because then you won't have space to stick your rod. And you can't put it too far to the bottom because then you're putting unnecessary stress on different parts of the car. What you want to do is give yourself at least 2 or 4 inches of space between the bag and the top of the car. And that should be enough space to get your rod in there. All right, and now when we're inflating the bag, we want to create just enough space to stick our rod in there, but not too much space because you don't want to bend the frame. Just enough. That right there should be enough. When you can almost stick your pinky in, that's usually enough space. Now remember that doing this job requires you to pay attention to what tools you have. I know this vehicle I can unlock by pulling the handle because there is no lift up mechanism. And the button's on the driver's side, and I just chose to go with this passenger side. And once you have enough space, you stick your rod in and you wiggle it without giving it too much force to get it inside the car like that. Once you're in, you should just be able to reach over to the doorknob, pull it, and then your customer's vehicle should be open at that point. Something to always watch out for whenever you're unlocking vehicles is this part of the vehicle and the inside part of the vehicle. Sometimes you can tear this when you're poking through it. Sometimes you can scratch this, right? Here's something to pay attention to. Whenever you're working in it, your rod's going in it like this. So you can't be pushing this rod too far this way or you're gonna create tension right there and cause scratches. You can't pull it too far this way because you're gonna create tension and cause scratches in here. And you gotta be careful when you're putting it in because I've been guilty of poking holes through these little things. So just make sure that you're very careful about doing all of that whenever you're unlocking a vehicle. And once you've unlocked the vehicle and you know your job was done correctly, you should be able to shut the door and it should be flush from where it was before. However, if and when the situation arrives that you unlock a car and this part of the frame that you were working on is sticking out slightly more than the other one, you can bend it back by putting something here on your door, right, like a pillow or something, and pushing on this part of the frame. This will bend it back a little bit to go back in. And that's what's usually happening a lot of the times when you get those customers that complain about noise being inside the vehicle, or they say that this is not flush to it. That's all you need to do. Put something here or put something here and push inward on this part and you'll get this part to flex back to how it was. So there you have it, folks. these are the 4 main tools that you need to unlock most vehicles. We didn't get to demonstrate this one today, but it's very easy to use. You get the idea. Some cars have little buttons that stick up like that. That's what this rod is used for. You pull that out, that wraps around the lock mechanism. You pull up, unlocks the car. You can do most of those services with this one, but if you're looking to unlock any car, you just need these 3. This one is a preferable tool though. I highly recommend it.